Hey everybody, welcome to Cycling Videos Online, your gateway to start your indoor cycling adventure. My name is Paul, and I'm about to work out to this video, and I'm kind of dreading it because I know exactly how difficult it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, run! This is a tough workout, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's quite miserable. If you are looking to really test your limits and you want to become stronger, this is an awesome workout for that. So there's a few components here that I want to talk about. One is the ride itself, and then two is the person that we're going to be narrating this ride with. So I have a co-narrator. His name is Danny Summerhill. He's a really cool guy. He's an up-and-coming racer, Cat 1s, and he's an elite cyclist, and he was racing Tour de Colorado. Danny and I hooked up, and we sat on our bikes together, and we recorded this training narrative for you, so you'll get some pretty cool information from him. The next part I want to talk about is the ride itself. So this is the Gran Fondo Moab, and I filmed this after a rough night. I was getting sick, and the day after this ride, I really came down with it. Just be sympathetic when you feel my suffering on some of these climbs. So this is it starts out as a 500 rider mass start, and it was organized through a company called Poison Spider Bicycle. They're a bike shop out in Moab, and they actually asked me to come out and film the ride. It was fun. It was an honor. So I started in the very front of the group, and all 500 riders we took off, and we head up the Colorado River, and that's when the race really starts. So these guys up front, they just start really pushing the pace, and you're gonna feel it. So we're sprinting up these little climbs, trying to stay on the wheel, and then we're flying down, trying to bring that accordion back together. And so the accelerations almost seem like they never stop. And then when we get to the turn where we start hitting the Castle Valley and we begin our climb up to the La Salles, we kind of slow it down a little bit because there is no way I'm going to keep that 40-pound bike up with these professional caliber racers at the front of this group. So we start slowly working our way up. The views are spectacular. They're really beautiful. Once we start the steep part of this climb, we're going to climb up to 10,000 feet above sea level. You'll see the snow. Even though we're riding in the late spring, early summer, it's pretty. It's a grueling climb. You're going to basically be covering two parts of suffering. One is racing and two is climbing. So you're going to get your workout in, and then it's downhill from there. So get yourself ready for this workout. Make sure you have plenty of water, and make sure you are in the right frame of mind to really push yourself and put you through this test. So because it's a doozy. So have a great workout, have a great ride. We'll see you.
Did it come back together in Denver?
Yeah, it did. It on the circuits, yeah.
On the circuit, right?
And I was nervous. Granted, I had nothing to really be nervous about because all of the important guys on our team were up the road with the main split.
Right.
But I had a feeling it would come back because the guy that won that day, his team was back. He was a sprinter, and his team was back there with him chasing to get the field back together.
You are listening to the default audio track, which includes instructional narrative. To turn off this audio track, simply press the audio button on your DVD remote. Press it again to turn off the music, and just listen to the sounds of the ride.
I get about an hour and a half on that. 4 hours on that. Well, a couple hours on that. And another one.
Welcome everybody, we're in Moab doing the Gran Fondo. This is an event hosted by Poison Spider Bicycles, and it turned out to be an amazing ride, really difficult. I wasn't quite prepared for the efforts. Joining me today is Danny Summerhill, and he'll be helping us out with the narrative today. And Danny Summerhill is a name you might recognize. He's a professional racer and rode in the Pro Cycling Challenge here in Colorado. So he'll be helping us out, and he's starting out with us right now. We're getting our legs warmed up. But before we really get into a conversation, I just want to go over some of the features of the dashboard, just to refresh our memories. And now this is a fairly short warm-up, so I'll have to cover this quickly. So while we're rolling out of Moab here in the group, get those legs rolling, get yourself warmed up, because the efforts are going to pick up considerably. On the top left of the dash is the effort profile, showing us at 70% of max right now. And to the right, we're looking at our gear ratio and resistance. Our gear ratio, we're in our easiest gear, just kind of coasting along with these guys. Resistance is a 1 out of 10. So right now, things are pretty mellow, but that won't last. One of the things to keep in mind on this particular beginning of this ride is the cadence and power changes so quickly, it might be difficult to match those numbers. Adjust my mic here. I don't like the way that sounds. So keep those in your peripherals, so you get an idea what's going on, but it might be difficult matching the cadence and power because of those quick rapid changes. Now this is a muscle breakdown video, and basically this is a really tough workout, very difficult ride, and building muscle, I think, is a kind of a mindset as much as it is a actual workout. And as a mindset, what we need to do is be prepared for total humiliation. There is nothing easy about building muscle. I can't get this mic sitting on. It's frustrating. Keep experimenting, so you'll hear noises while I'm trying to figure out how to make this sound good. So whenever you're in a position where you can strengthen yourself, strengthen your body, you'll have to bare your soul and put yourself out as hard as you can, to the point where you realize that you're not infallible, that you feel pretty weak afterwards. It's a humbling experience. Now Danny might have some input on that.
I'll do my best. How's that sound? Is that all right?
Yeah, no, that shifting is fine. We're going up a little hill here, so just adding a little resistance. You can hear the clicking. Now Danny and I are actually on our trainers, riding right along with you. So the efforts that you experience on the bike ride,
We'll be experiencing too.
Exactly. So let's just enjoy our warm-up here. Make sure you get your heart rate up. 75% of max right now. Now, for those of you who have been with me a long enough time, you might remember a guest that worked with us on a video called Rising Above Expectation. Her name was Gran Summerhill, Danny's mom, and she wouldn't stop talking about him, and I could see why now. I apologize. She was a really good help with that video, and she's got a really amazing story to tell. If you haven't already heard it or worked out to that video, it's I mean, the bike ride, the ride itself is very difficult, and Fran stuck with it and worked herself really hard and has some really amazing stories to tell along the ride, so I don't want to give it all away. Suffice to say, I think maybe Danny, some of your success came from her as being a good role model in the sport of cycling.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it did. Growing up with being the only rider or the racer at the weekend races with his mom that would come to the races instead of his dad, that alone was enough to make me who I am today.
That's awesome. So when this bike ride really kicks in, we'll be following the Colorado River, and the changes will be coming so rapidly, resistance and effort and power. We're probably not going to have a whole lot of stuff to talk about other than change that resistance and get your power up, or get your heart rate up and work yourself harder. So we'll do our best. Danny's gonna maybe point out some of the characteristics of this recreational race with maybe some of his professional ones. So yeah, the guys up front want to thin this group out. We started with 500 riders, and they don't want they don't want people clogging the road, so they're going to lift the efforts up pretty high. And I'm going to do whatever I can with this camera bike to stay with them. So here we go. Let's start adding some resistance. We're actually really driving it up here.
That is a bit of a climb we're about to head up, is that correct?
Well, it's just
profile.
It's an acceleration.
Okay.
You can see in the middle graph there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's our acceleration. Our efforts are going to go up to about 88% here, so let's drive it up. Keep the cadence up nice and high, about 100 RPM. Keep that resistance going and keep the legs cranking here. If you need to play with the resistance on your trainer, now's a good time, because it's going to go like this for a long time. Let's keep that cadence up nice and high, 100 RPM. Get yourself to 88% of your max. Big ring up front. And you can see the power indicator on the lower left there. We're at 50% of max. So we're still putting in a nice solid effort. And that power indicator, sorry, don't look at my power. We're lifting it up again here, and down. Just hanging with the group. Yeah, another acceleration right here. Gonna lift our effort up to the mid 90s. Got a little hill here. 10 out of 10. Now let's sprint up it. Stay with these guys. Keeping the tempo up high. Nice high cadence. Taking a little resistance off. So we're coming over the top. Bringing the effort down. Oh, one little surge here. Sound pretty worthless at this effort. And bringing the group back together, take off some resistance, coast down the hill. See? Really quick start. Oh, shoot. Danny's trying to sneak a peek at my power. For those of you who want to know,
I was going to say, I think it might be nice if they had an idea of what the percentages they're looking at on the video translate to
as actual watts.
As actual watts.
Well, see, my power indicator's messed up. It always registers low. Give you an idea. I have my max power set at 650 watts, and that's over a 30-second interval.
Not bad.
And I tested that out on a different video, so it's all indoor, so I can control what I'm doing. We're still pedaling.
Now we're surging a bit, obviously.
Oh, big power, extra power here, keeping the nice high gear, but it's a short burst. For my hill climbs, when I'm pace myself at about 225 watts. A little bigger effort here. Group is trying to pull itself together and relax. We're back. Everybody's happy. Well, I think a lot of this acceleration right now is a lot of nervous energy with the group. You know, I mean, these guys are professionals.
Well, that's pretty usual in any racing, whether it's a Cat 4 race or a beginning of a pro race. The nervous energy at the start is usually the worst out of any point in the day, just because a lot of times the breakaways go pretty early, and if you're one of those types of riders that wants to get in that breakaway, you're gonna be nervous, and you're gonna have a lot of energy trying to work towards getting in that breakaway. So the beginnings of a lot of races are usually by far the hardest, and definitely the sketchiest too. So
Danger?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty. And here, obviously, in Moab, with 500 people, there's a good risk.
We got a big effort here, Danny. Sorry, let's get in our big ring up front. Add some resistance. Get that cadence up crazy high, 100, 105. And bring it down. Here it comes. Gotta bring our heart rate up about 95% here. Let's go.
As you can see, a few people out of the seat. You guys at home, let's maybe work on that. Shift down. Just like Paul said, let's get some good effort here before we take it off.
And we're over the top.
The field's going to regroup here, so you guys can do the same.
And we're going to pick it back up, little bump in the road right here. Big ring up front. Get ready. A lot of changes. We're at 93%. We're climbing. Add some power. Add some resistance. Get over the top. And take it off.
It's amazing for going along the Colorado River. There really are quite a lot of
rollers,
undulations in the terrain.
I'll say.
Which obviously we're going to hit a real big undulation towards the end of the video, but right now just the constant surges.
6,000 foot undulation. So now when you're riding in a pace line or peloton like this, the group is constantly coming apart and reforming, and each one of those reformations is an acceleration, whether you're going up a hill or down.
Right. I think as far as it'll always change depending on the category of racing that you're in, and granted, here in the pros, so you can have the same thing where it'll have what they call the accordion effect, and it'll go hard at the front, and obviously the people at the back of the field are going to be the last ones to know that they're going hard. So you can imagine accordion doing exactly what we're doing here, which is when the riders at the front are surging up the hill, the riders at the back of the race, they've yet to see the challenge that waits ahead of them. So a few seconds later, or I mean in some races case it could be 10 or 15 seconds by the time the whole field gets to that one spot, and then all of a sudden the riders at the very front of the race are almost a quarter mile down the road because it's stretched out so much. And obviously the key to kind of take away from that is, and especially with the training aspect in mind, is to really put that power down to make sure that you aren't the unlucky rider that drops a little bit too far off the wheel in front of you, and then you're in what's called no man's land because you're too far ahead of the people that have been dropped behind you, and then you're obviously too far behind the wheel in front of you that you're trying to draft. So it would behoove you to really, really focus on digging as deep as you can to always keep that wheel.
Well, how hard should you push yourself to stay on a wheel?
Oh, it really depends. I mean, for a few of you who are racers watching and listening to this, I'll speak on your behalf first. Obviously in a race, I mean, the main objective is to come to the finish line first, so you really should try and do whatever you can in your power to stay with that rider and that wheel right in front of you. And obviously if you get gapped off, then that's racing, but at the same time there's still plenty more time in the race that you might be able to make it back onto the field or back to the group, all that good stuff. So never give up, obviously.
A little acceleration right here. You can see ahead of there's a line that goes through all three graphs, two little white lines. What's in between those white lines is where we're at, and you'll notice that just ahead of the white line is some orange and yellow, doing exactly what Danny's talking about. It's a perfect sine curve. It's a wavelength, you know. It's sorry, I'm gonna let my math get carried away here, but it's a natural progression of effort with power as the pack is stretching out, and you have to apply power to close it back up. So just watch those changes and stay on it. Keep that effort going. So we're trying to break, we're trying to train our ability to overcome our pain thresholds and build strength on this ride. We're at 93%. Resistance is going up, and then it's coming down again. So it's just that kind of thing. So just try and follow those gear changes. If you're on a spin bike, I apologize. There's a lot of changes in your resistance, and if you're trying to turn the little knob, you're gonna have a heck of a time. What you might try instead is set your resistance at about a 6, 7 out of 10 and change your cadence in order to accommodate those accelerations.
I think that's a good idea. I think for the spin bike people, as opposed to tightening up that tension, you might focus on when it is going hard, work on really spinning as fast as you can, because obviously if you're going to be able to spin on a spin bike with a lot of resistance, you're going to be using a lot of power, and that is in the end what exactly we're working on today. So one way or another, let's hope that everyone's legs really feel it by the end of this ride, and you guys can go home satisfied, having a big dinner to look forward to after a nice hard workout.
Yeah, that's my line.
I think that's everyone's line who rides the bike. Shoot, I know that's mine.
Well, you're young.
Sorry. I know some days I'll be on a training ride, and no matter how hard the ride is that I'm doing, I'll be constantly looking at my Garmin. Obviously, I'm using a power meter, and power meters are great for this because they measure out the amount of calories and or kilojoules, which are basically one and the same, that you're burning throughout the ride. So I've been told that essentially 1 kilojoule is the same as 1 calorie burn. So if I do a 3-hour ride and I burn something like, hold on.
Big acceleration here, guys. Up the hill. Keeping that cadence really high here. Sprint over the top, let's go. Stay on that wheel. Bring the resistance down just a bit. And back it off. Well, let's stay with the group. Soft pedal here. And then add some cadence. Easy spin. Easier spin. We're just trying to stay on at this point. Now, Danny, when you're in a group like this, what are you usually averaging heart rate wise?
Oh, you know, it really depends. I mean, like you had said earlier, the way that the road would fluctuate with climbs and descents is really gonna do a number. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, big ring.
Let's go hard again. You guys at home should be able to see a little bit up the road between the video and the map on the bottom right. So between the numbers, the power numbers, and everything else on the dash, you guys have just as good of a feel of when we're going to be going hard as I do. So
watch the riders in front, see how they react to those changes in effort.
Exactly. You can tell here it would look like we're about to go over the top of at least a little bit of a pitch.
Yeah, and they're accelerating away a little bit. But we're looking at the road, and we're gonna just let other riders in front carry us over this little hill without too much work. Well, I take it back. I think that's an anomaly on that power there. keeping it up here, 92%, and we're coming down the backside. Yeah, these things happen so fast, it's really hard to call them out. Whew. Keep that heart rate just above 90.
I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and that one little, that one spot back there where obviously the power in the video was through the roof. You'd notice that the riders right in front of you, Paul, were just a little bit too far away. I mean, that completely ruined all bit of draft that you would possibly get,
so,
and therefore help. So
hence the spike.
Yep, hence the spike, and hence the fact that everyone should really work on never letting that wheel get away from them, because when you do, you can see the damage that'll happen as far as you as a rider having to put forth an effort like we just saw, going
to get up to that wheel,
to get back up to the wheel. So the more you can focus on really staying close and really staying tight, especially in a group like this, you could come to the finish of whatever, whether it's a race or a friendly ride with some friends, more fresh than anyone else, because you have worked on staying as tight and close as possible, where maybe they have forgotten that they're going to be using a lot more energy if they let that wheel go.
Well, one thing to note is in a civilian race like this, you know, you got to watch out for your own safety too.
True, of course.
You know.
Yeah, that the racing side of me kind of takes over when
I don't know these guys in front of me, so I'm not going to be 6 inches from their wheel. That's just, you know, an old guy with a family talking.
Of course, of course.
All right, so we're a little break here. It's not going to last long. You can see ahead of us 2 really high effort sprints, and they are sprints, so when we get to those, you know, put it in your big ring, your biggest gear, get out of the saddle and get over the top, get that heart rate up. We're looking at 2 efforts that are close to 100% in order to stay with this group.
How long do these go for?
About 50 minutes.
Well, no, sorry, these sharp efforts.
Not long,
Okay.
30 seconds.
Okay, all right.
So a minute at the most.
Everyone keep that in the back of your mind. It's the pain is temporary. Very.
Good point.
I can hold my breath for 30 seconds. I think you guys can sprint over a little hill for 30 seconds. You got it.
Well, right now we're kind of settling into a nice, comfortable pace. So a little effort here. Add some resistance. Stay on that wheel.
Here we go.
But it's not going to be a big one. Back it off. So when you're racing, Danny, I mean, you got people. Are you wired into your car behind you, or
as of this season, not anymore. Radios have actually been banned, which as a rider is one of the most disappointing things ever, because especially being a young racer.
Big acceleration here, staying with the group. It's just a surge to bring the group back together and back down.
Like I was saying, being a young racer, having a radio in your ears is both beneficial and a lot of fun.
How bad?
Get to relive those childhood dreams at the age of 22. Playing G.I. Joe with your friends in the walkie-talkie.
So your coach wouldn't know how hard you're working?
No, it's really more the reason they took the radios out is as a way to try and even out the racing, because radios were really making racing so one-dimensional, because no matter what, the the director in the follow car behind you would be telling you as a team exactly when to start chasing the breakaway, and so often the race would come down to a sprint finish because those teams have their directors in their ear knowing exactly when to start chasing and when to back off, and
so they don't let it happen.
Exactly. And this way, for the people at home watching on TV, it's much more of a game of risk, if you will, because us as riders really don't have nearly as much knowledge of what's going on time-wise ahead of us in the breakaway. So we have to rely on our own intuition as opposed to that of our coach.
But you still have the signs on the road that shows how far that gap is, right?
We do. But like I said, it's not nearly as instantaneous as a radio check, you know. So
now, is that all professionally sanctioned races from here on out that are adopting that?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
unless, of course, the
2012 Tour de France will not be using radio.
That'll be real
interesting.
Yeah. But then yet, I mean, the riders' union is still fighting it tooth and nail, so you never know. Within the next year or two, they might try and streamline in radios back into racing again. But the Tour de France is the one of the bigger races this year that has not adopted that.
No radio policy?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
All the other smaller races have, because they're obviously smaller, not nearly as big and powerful, if you will.
They're not going to have the elites sitting it out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Is there now, other than the convenience of being able to know when to bring that gap in, I mean, are there other benefits? Does it serve?
Oh yeah, the biggest one that people are fighting about is the safety benefit.
That's
because
what I figured.
With the radio and having the director in the car behind you, the director's got the race profile in a book in his hand, and he's driving down the road, and he's obviously not suffering at at 180 heart rate. So he's calm and collected, and he'll be able to tell us when we've got a nasty right-hand turn coming that's going to open up into a valley, perhaps with a bunch of crosswind. So in an instant like that, it's really beneficial because your coach or director can tell you when the wind is going to be hitting you from the left, and you will then know when you need to move up on the side of the field and all sorts of good stuff. So, like I was saying, having that radio was a major benefit, and now there's a lot of world-class cyclists out there that just half the time don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're spoiled.
Exactly, because all of them have grown up in the era of radios,
right?
And being being 22.
Big effort here, guys. Sorry, this is one of our sprint climbs.
Oh, here we go. This is what we're working for.
Stay on that wheel. Get that heart rate up, 95%.
You can see everyone else sprinting out of the seat.
We're out of the saddle.
Up, 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 up.
Go, go, go.
It's not going to last too long. Legs are going to scream for a little bit, but let's get through it. You can see up the road ahead of you. It's not going to last too much further. Keep it going. Keep the power on.
Fly. Add some cadence. Get back down.
Try and
spin it up.
Hold that wheel in front of you. You can see the accordion effect like we were talking about.
Stretched out nice and good here.
Real good.
Oh.
There we go.
We're over the top, but we got to bring it back in.
Good work, everyone. Good work. And you said we've got another one of those coming up, correct?
Uh-huh.
All right. So let's spin the legs out. Let's flush out that lactic acid and get ready for the next nasty little pitch.